I want my viewers to watch the best of the best, so I simply cannot bring a top 10 list of some average and mediocre shows just for the sake of making too many parts. Hence, I always decide to bring the best in the category only after watching the shows. So today, for the list of the top 10 best fantasy web series, I went through all the best fantasy web series released so far till now and selected 10 of the best shows in the fantasy genre, which are streaming on Netflix, Amazon Prime and other platforms. So I strongly recommend you watch the video completely so you don't miss out on anyone from the list. Now let's begin. Number 10. The Sandman. The recent sensational series The Sandman is a fantasy drama television series based on DC Comics, developed for streaming service Netflix and produced by DC Entertainment and Warner Bros. Television. The Sandman follows Morpheus, also known as Dream, as he's captured by a black magic occult group in 1916 and imprisoned and tries to escape. Dream finally manages to escape and spends the remaining issues trying to regain control of the world of dreaming and the powers he once possessed. Dream is the personification of all dreams and stories. He can make himself look pretty much like anything, though he's usually portrayed as a pale man with dark eyes. Hence, the main story follows Dream, and the comic's most famous and celebrated stories tend to put him at the center. With a 7.8 rating on IMDb and 87% Rotten Tomatoes score, The Sandman is available to stream on Netflix. Number 9. The Lord of the Rings of Power. It's been more than 8 years now since the final film in the Hobbit trilogy attracted the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien, and finally the wait is over. The much-awaited series is here to offer you a magnificent TV experience of The Lord of the Rings of Power. The series has brought the world of Middle-earth legends on the TV screen, and this time the adventure isn't limited to a core group. Here, the story revolves around many characters and intriguing plots, set thousands of years before Frodo and Sam's journey to destroy that one ring. So you won't see Lord Aragorn and Legolas first, but there is a legendary character elf leader called Galadriel who is on a quest to find the Dark Force while the forbidden romance blossoms between an elf and a woman. The show just started in September, and with a few episodes into the show, it managed 7 IMDb rating and 84% Rotten Tomatoes score and is currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video. Number 8. The Witcher. One of the reasons The Witcher is such a divisive show when it premiered on Netflix was because it isn't the type of romantic spectacle fantasy that mainstream audiences found so appealing in Game of Thrones. The Witcher is very much classic high fantasy, complete with quests, strange monsters, and a world in which humans may be the dominant species, but are far from the only one. The story about a mutant monster hunter for fire, Geralt of Rivia, played by Henry Cavill. The Witcher may not appeal to everyone, but it's sure to please die-hard fans of the genre. And while the Netflix hit does deliver delightful Monster of the Week stories, the overarching narrative of the prophecy that binds Geralt to a young princess, Ciri, and Geralt's staunch resistance to give in to his own destiny gives the show a narrative hook that will leave you wanting to toss a coin to The Witcher. The show got 8.2 rating on IMDb and 81% Rotten Tomatoes score, and you can stream it on Netflix. Number 7. Outlander. If you love a fantasy show but don't want your head to explode with the nitty-gritty mechanics of intricate world building, welcome to Outlander. Stars' roving adventure story centers on Claire Randall, played by Catriona Balfe, a World War II nurse who accidentally travels back in time 200 plus years to the 18th century Scotland. It's there she meets the true love of her life, a strapping Highlander named Jamie Fraser. Together they try to change history, manipulate royalty, and, most importantly, find time for hot, steamy romance. That's right, this is an R-rated adventure series, so don't watch it with your kids. You'll be intrigued by the premise, be awed by the cinematography, and find yourself sticking around for the love story that defies the ages. The Outlander got IMDb rating of 8.4 and 89% Rotten Tomatoes score, and it's available to stream on Netflix. Number 6. House of the Dragon. Perhaps the biggest compliment that can be given to the new Game of Thrones spin-off prequel House of the Dragon is that the much defamed original series' head writers David Benioff and Daniel Weiss have zero involvement this time around. 3 years later, HBO brought this prequel with Ryan Condal as writer and adapted partly from George R.R. Martin's book Fire and Blood. The series is set about 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones and 172 years before the birth of our beloved Daenerys Targaryen. It portrays the beginning of the end of House Targaryen, the events leading up to and covering the Targaryen War of Succession known as the Dance of the Dragons. With very few episodes into the show, House of the Dragons managed 8.9 ratings on IMDb with 83% Rotten Tomatoes score. The show is now streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. Number 5. Vikings. Vikings is inspired by the sagas of the Viking Ragnar Lothbrok, one of the most known legendary Norse heroes and notorious as the scourge of England and France. The show portrays Ragnar as a farmer who rises to fame through successful raids in England and eventually becomes a Scandinavian king, with the support of his family and fellow warriors. Vikings Valhalla is set over 1,000 years ago in the early 11th century. Vikings Valhalla chronicles the heroic adventures of some of the most famous Vikings ever lived. As tensions between the Vikings and the English royals reach a bloody breaking point, and as the Vikings themselves clash over their conflicting Christian and skeptic beliefs, Vikings begin an epic journey that will take them across oceans and through battlefields, from Kattegat in England and beyond, as they fight for survival and glory. With 8.5 rating on IMDb and 93% Rotten Tomatoes score, Vikings is available to stream on Netflix. Number 4. Supernatural. The show follow the terrifying yet thrilling journeys of Dean and Sam Winchester in the super popular Haunting series. The two brothers hunt monsters while facing ever-increasing evil and landscapes from hell, literally. The two lost their mother as boys to a demonic supernatural force and were raised by their father to be soldiers in the ever-increasing fight of demonic and other mysterious creatures. Although few turn out to be actually on their side, most try to kill them. Violent secrets and threatening memories heap extra burdens on the brothers while they try to keep the things that go bump in the night at bay. With their bag of tricks and tools that sometimes rendered useless, the two must help each other in dire times. This popular dramatic series ended with an overall 15 seasons and the final episode released in 2020. The show got 8.4 ratings on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes score of 93%, and it's available to watch on Amazon Prime. Number 3. The Vampire Diaries and the Originals. The Vampire Diaries and the Originals are supernatural teen drama fantasy television shows developed by Kevin Williamson and Julie Bleck, based on the book series The Vampire Diaries, written by L.J. Smith. We felt we could list these together since the Originals is a spin-off of The Vampire Diaries. The Vampire Diaries series began in 2009 and ran through to 2017 when it ended. In it, a young teen girl discovers the truth about vampires and other supernatural creatures and ends up having to choose between two vampire brothers. The Originals, on the other hand, which is the spin-off, centers on Klaus, who is a werewolf-vampire hybrid. Klaus, along with several members of his family, was originally introduced on The Vampire Diaries. In this series, Klaus investigates rumors of a plot against him, joined by siblings and friends in order to reclaim their city by forming an alliance with the witches. The Originals ended 2018 with total 5 seasons. With IMDb rating of 7.7, The Vampire Diaries is available to watch on Netflix, and with 8.3 IMDb rating, The Originals is available to watch on Amazon Prime Video. Number 2. Avatar: The Last Airbender. The animated TV series Avatar: The Last Airbender, created by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, is by far and away a masterpiece, the classic series in its genre. In addition to being critically and commercially successful and having achieved an average of 5.6 million viewers, Avatar has been nominated for and won several Annie, Peabody, and Primetime Emmy Awards. Set in an Asian-influenced world where martial arts and elemental manipulation are complementary components, Avatar: The Last Airbender centers on a 12-year-old boy, Aang, and his fight to maintain peace across the world, which consists of 4 elemental-focused nations. The series premiered on Nickelodeon in 2005 and ran for 3 seasons and has since spawned a film video games and comics, as well as the television sequel, The Legend of Korra, which itself has been a hit. The show got extraordinary 9.3 rating on IMDb and 100% Rotten Tomatoes score, and is available to stream on both Netflix and Prime Video depending on the country. Number 1. Game of Thrones. Don't let the memes fool you. The reason so many people were up in arms about the final stretch of the Game of Thrones is that the show was mostly excellent up until that point and set an impossibly high bar for Fantacy Series. The adaptation of George R.R. Martin's book series became a must-watch thanks to its well-crafted characters and elaborate narratives. And by leaning into its spectacle appeal, it became a full-on event series. Set in the fictional realm of Westeros, the drama was always high stakes. No character was ever safe from violence, sacrifice, or other consequences, and there were surprises aplenty in store for every single person ever even dreamed of having power. You somehow missed out on the show that had absolutely everyone talking. Now's a good time, as its prequel, The House of the Dragon, started premiering this year. Game of Thrones got 9.2 rating on IMDb and 89% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and is currently available to watch on both Hotstar and Prime Video depending on the country of origin. Thank you so much for watching this video, and do comment your favorite show below. Until then, I'll see you all